Ryan doesn't do this much. And first off, and you guys are really nice. So that combination, we should get through this morning pretty good. So my name is Ryan Berger. I'm the founder and executive director of Agitas. So originally, I was supposed to come and talk for about 10 minutes. Thank you so much for the gift that you gave us over the year, financially supporting us. And then Pastor Lane and Shelby kind of told me what was going on, and they asked if I could talk maybe a little bit longer. And I've never had an issue talking a little bit longer. So I said, all right, let's do this. But now, after hearing these two kids singing today, that was amazing. And I don't think Pastor Lane wanted to follow that up. And I can call them kids because I have some gray in my beard. And if you look here, there's some gray things. I can call them kids. So, no, that was amazing. So again, just thank you so much for your gift at the end of the year. Really excited to be here today. So Agitas. My name is Ryan Berger again, founder and director of Agitas. In 2012, my wife and I were sitting at church, and our pastor was talking about if you're feeling called to do something, just do it. You don't want to look back in 5, 10, 15, 20 years and say, I wish I would have done that. So I looked at my wife and I said, hey, we're going to do a free soccer camp for kids in the community. And that soccer camp has 2 goals. One is to reach out to kids that may never be able to go to a camp. Because camps around the area are pretty expensive, ranging $85, $150, pretty expensive. So we wanted to put no barrier in between a kid being able to have a good opportunity like that. The second was to use the gifts and passions that Christ had given us to impact kids for Christ and His kingdom. So we did our first soccer camp at Lakeland Christian Academy. And this was great. We had about 37 people all together. And honestly, we didn't know what we were doing. We just said, hey, let's do this. Soccer's been a part of my life, but we wanted to do it. So again, first camp, Lakeland Christian Academy, 37 kids. And at the end of this camp, Nina and I kind of looked at each other and said, hey, we were called to do something and we did. We're done, right? This is it. No, it didn't work like that. So what ended up happening is it went really well, and then the head coach at Warsaw Community High School, Scott Bauer at the time, came and said, I heard what you did. Would you guys want to move that to Warsaw High School? Complex is a little bigger. You guys could probably get some more kids there. So we did it. The second year we had about 100 kids. But just to show you, so this is our first year. This is 2019. So just to give you a little perspective of where we were and what we grew to, even though that day we thought, hey, we're done. There you go, Lord, we did it. So, again, continue to grow. And then a couple years later, there was a high school student that came, he was a baseball player at Warsaw Community High School, and he said, Ryan, I love what you're doing with soccer and sharing Christ. I never had that with baseball. What would you think about doing that Agitas baseball game? And of course, I said, no, what are you talking about? Baseball? Those guys throw that little ball at like 100 miles an hour at each other. There's no way we're doing baseball. No, I said, all right. God's opening doors. Let's continue to step through and let's just go for it. So we did Agitas baseball camp the first year at Lincoln Elementary School. And that first year we had about 20 kids, and it was perfect. Kids were riding their bikes by, playing baseball with us. And again, that continued to grow from going from Lincoln Elementary School to going to the Warsaw Community High School to going to Bob's, because the camp continued to grow and grow. So then, don't get confused. There's Ryan Gregory Bricker, who cuts hair, and Ryan Gregory Berger, who you don't want to cut hair. So Ryan Gregory Bricker was starting to do some basketball trainings, and I went to him and I said, Ryan, we didn't really know each other, but I told him the heart of Agitas is what we wanted to do. And you're already doing it, so why don't we just start Agitas basketball? So we started Agitas basketball. And it went great. And as you know, in this community, basketball is a huge thing. So we just kept going and going, and it kept growing. And then I'm married to Nina Kashan Berger. And her dad, KT Kashan, he's a surgeon in town. So he saw what we were doing, he saw what we were doing through soccer, what we were doing through basketball, and he said, this would work in India. I know it would. But the problem is he's a surgeon, he's not a sports guy, he's not a coach, he's never done it. But he would come out with his clipboard, usually in his scrubs, and just watch us. And take notes and be like, so, we have Agnes India. So, KT has gone over orphanages and he goes to villages. And he provides free camps for these kids that would never have it any other time. And it's just continued to grow and he loves it. He sees it as his ministry. Actually, this summer we have a guy from India coming to be an intern with Agnes for a month to learn how we do things so that he can continue to grow it over in India. So that is when you grow, more kids are coming. To the point that our soccer camp, we had 175 people sign up in an hour. So when you have that, you go back to our original goal of reaching kids that couldn't afford to do anything else like this. Away from those kids because the parents on the computer ready to sign their kids up right when the registration kids are the ones that are probably in their lives all the time and investing in their lives. So we were challenged to get back to that original goal. So what we did is we started something called a pop-up camp. So a pop-up camp is where the kids that might not be coming to our camps, we got to go to them. Just a reminder for the church. The people that aren't coming to these walls, we got to figure out ways to go to them. But that's what the pop-up camp was. So we would go into low-income areas, and our original plan was to go in there and do a soccer camp, maybe do a snack, and then share Christ. That was our original goal. So our first one ever we went to Whispering Pine. That's where a couple of these pictures are at. But our first one we ever did, we went in there. We did soccer, it was going great. We actually had to go door to door because the kids just aren't coming out. So we're going door to door, we get all these kids here. And then we start playing soccer, and then at the end, I'm sharing the story about how Jesus feeds 5,000. And I told all these kids that we could take all the food that we have, but it wouldn't feed everybody that Jesus fed that day. And one of the little boys looked at me and he goes, well, that's not much. And he was saying that because he didn't have much food at his house. So who cares if we took all the food that they had? It doesn't matter. It's not going to feed a lot of people anymore. So my heart was breaking, but at the same time, my wife was getting a text message from one of our friends, Rachel. And Rachel said, I want to feed all those kids tomorrow night. So Rachel, that next night, brought peanut butter sandwiches, fruit, chips, and she fed every single kid at our pop-up camp on Tuesday night. So because me and Nina were called to do something in 2012, that gave Rachel an opportunity to do something that she was called to do that day. And that night at camp, one of the little girls, Raina, she would take the food and she would run home. And then she would come back and she'd run back. And I don't know if it was the second or third time that she came back, but she came and she said, because my brother had that sandwich, his stomach doesn't hurt. It was just a peanut butter sandwich. But that just shows what's out in our community. But because somebody saw what Rachel did on Tuesday night feeding all those kids had dinner on Wednesday night. And because somebody saw what happened on Tuesday and Wednesday night, those kids had dinner on Thursday. So that's just a part of our camp now, our pop-up camp. We go in somewhere, we do soccer, we share Christ, but then we feed them. Because it's not only about their spiritual needs at some of these places, it's about their physical needs. So we want to meet those too. So what I want to do today is share the story that I share with every single camp that we do. The exact story that I was sharing with those kids at that camp. And some of you are like, I come to church to hear something about the Bible, and you've been talking about nothing so far. So I have some verses up here too that you can look at. But so the neat thing about the story about Jesus feeding 5,000 is it's in every gospel. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So if it's in every single one, it's probably pretty important. I'm going to be reading mostly from Mark and John, so if you want to follow along in your Bible, you can, but I'm going to be jumping all over the place, so I'll make it difficult. All right, so Mark 6. The apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, he said to them, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. But many who saw them leaving recognized him and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. By this time it was late in the day, so his disciples came to him, and it's already very late. Send the people away so they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something. But he answered, "Are we to go and spend that much on bread and give it to them?" So Jesus has been preaching all day long. He's been doing miracles, healing the sick. It's getting late. And it's not like here they can just run to a restaurant and grab something. There's just thousands of people there, and they're far away from everything. So his disciples are going to him and saying, "Jesus, send these people away." So it's interesting, Matthew, as evening approached, the disciples came to him. Mark, by this time it was late in the day, so his disciples came to him. Luke, late in the afternoon, the 12 came to him. Then we get to John. I don't know if John was just having a bad day. I don't know if he was mad at Philip. I don't know what was going on there. Not a biblical scholar. But here it is, and it says, Jesus said to Philip, "Where shall we buy bread for all these people to eat?" He asked this only to test him, for he already had in mind what he was going to do. Philip answered, "It would take more than half a year's wages to buy enough bread for each one to have a bite." Poor Philip. Poor Philip. So not only did John call him out by name, Philip, everybody else is a disciple. I'm good if I'm in a group, but if somebody says, "Ryan did this," thanks, John. Not only that, but verse 6, he asked this only to test him, for he already knew what he was going to do. So Jesus asked him a question that he already knew the answer to. Philip is in a bad spot right now. But then I started wondering, how many times in our lives are we Philip? How many times in our lives are we getting nudged or pushed, called, or in this verse, tested to do something? And we look at that and go, "No, that's too big. That's too big." So what I started doing in my life is I started thinking about what was a time in my life where I looked at a situation and was like, "No way," and they're easy to find for me. So I started thinking about the time where, before my wife and I were married, right after Haiti had the big earthquakes, she came to me and she said, "I'm going to go to Haiti. I'm feeling called to go. I need to go. I need to be there." And of course, be protective. No, that's bad. Don't do it. Bad idea. It's really bad that I'm right now. And if you know my wife, she listened to me 100%. She said, "Ryan, you're so wise." And that didn't happen at all. If you know my wife, she said, "I am going to Haiti." All right, going to Haiti. If you also know my wife, you know that if the spiritual gift of loving children, if loving children was a spiritual gift, that would be hers. So she went down there, and her whole thing was, "I'm going to love on kids. I'm going to orphanages, and I'm loving on kids." So you can see in this picture over here, and the little baby is green. So she was at an orphanage, and she was holding this little baby, and his name was, they call him Baby Noel, but his name was Jean Noel. So she was holding this little baby, and he just kept falling asleep on her. She loved it. There was a baby in the room, it would be in her arms. Actually, there's a baby. So, but she just loves babies. So she was with Baby Noel for so much of the day, and then she decided, "Hey, I need to put that baby down and go play with the older kids, because the older kids, they don't get as much attention as the babies do when groups go down." So she went over here. This is the second picture that we have of her. So she was playing with the bigger kids, and there was one little boy that kept sitting on her lap. And she would describe this boy as his dimples. he just had the best nipples. So he was sitting on the lap. And so when Nina gets back where she has internet that night, she sends me a Facebook message. And keep in mind, we're engaged at this point, we're not married. And she goes, Ryan, I found the boys. And like any 20-year-old, non-married guy. What are you talking about? The boys that we're going to adopt, we're not even married yet. Better watch it. Come on. But, side note to that story, as you can probably see in the front row, those boys are going to be home with us 8 years in July. And it was the best decision that Nina and I have ever made in our lives. And that was because she was called to do something, and she did it. But going back to it, how many times are we, Philip? I can imagine Jesus looking at Philip and saying, Philip, look at all these thousands of people. How are we going to feed them all? And Philip's like, what are you talking about? Seriously, Jesus, look at all those people. I don't know, we're not doing it. Seriously, Nina, we're not adopting these kids. What are you talking about? I can see how it is. So the crazy thing is, though, Philip had just spent hours watching Jesus heal people, watching Jesus do all these miracles. But then it comes and he says, hey, how are we going to feed all these people? Nope, not possible. So I think we'd all be sitting here saying, hey, we serve a huge God. Our God is huge. But then something happens. Your church has had a lot happen. And then we hit that and you go, this is too much. But the other part of the story that I love, he asked this only to test him, for he already had in mind what he was going to do. Here do you know how he's going to handle this. Here he knows how he's going to handle it for your church. So if you're feeling called to do something, or feeling tested to do something, maybe it's a conversation that you know you have to have with somebody, maybe it's an addiction that you have that you've been struggling, maybe it's some sins that you've been having that just look too big. He already knows. He already knows how he's going to deal with it if you take it to him. So, to continue this story, Jesus asked, how many loaves do you have? He asked. Go and see. When they found out, they said 5 and 2 fish. Well, we don't have some slides, but either way. So what ended up happening is they brought these fish and the bread to Jesus, and he blessed that, and he was able to feed all of the people there. And then they were able to pick up 12 baskets full of the leftovers of the bread and fish. And the great thing again is, when you look at it and you're looking at Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they just keep talking about the bread and the fish. Yeah, there was bread and fish there. But then you look at John again, and you find out from John, actually, where did that come from? It didn't just show up. Another of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up. Here's a boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. But how far will that go among so many? So when I started Agitas, we looked at it, and I had played soccer at Warsaw High School. I played soccer at Grace College. I took a summer and played out in Massachusetts, and I coached at Huntington. That being said, if I was really good, I'd still probably play. All right, just so. But soccer had always been a part of my life. It's always something that I did. So when I looked at this story and I thought about Agitas, I said, God, you can take the little that I have, which is soccer, and you can use it to bless the magnitude. And that's what it was all about, and that's what I share with everybody that I talk to. It's what do you have that you can give away and let him bless. So today in 2019, we started with 37 people in our organization. This year we had over 2,800 people go through the organization. We offer free soccer, free basketball, free baseball, and free golf camps. We had over 15 pop-ups that we did this past summer. We are in Agitas, India. We started Rise Athletic Development, which is another program that offers football, basketball, and soccer. And it's all because we said yes to one thing and we let God use the little that we had to bless the magnitude of people. And keep in mind that has nothing to do with me. There are two people in here, my wife and Lindsay, that can tell you if it was up to me, this thing would have failed multiple. Kyle probably too. If it was up to me, this thing would have failed multiple times over. But God has blessed it so much just because we were obedient to His call. And we didn't look at something that was in our way and say, oh, that's too much, or that's too many. So the band can come up. I know Pastor Lane was going to come up. As I just want to challenge you guys of what is it in your lives that you have that you can use or that you can give away that He can bless the magnitude of people? For me, it was soccer. For me, it was athletics. But everybody has something. They need to be using that no matter your age. So thank you so much for letting me come and talk. I appreciate it. We'll be praying for your church family, but just think about what you have that He can use to bless others.